What's up, guys? Welcome back to Hardball Talks, the podcast all about sports, life, and the head-on collision that happens between them. I'm Jess Schmittling, Director of Extreme Softball, and each week we dive into stories, challenges, and opportunities we experience living in the sports life arena. Today, I'm joined by a few of our softball alumni who now give back through coaching and training. We have Ali Grenzebach, who graduated in 2022, who now plays at McKendree University. We have Lexi Rafalowski, class of 2024, playing at St. Louis Community College, and Megan Rife, class of 2023, who attends Lewis and Clark. We are going to dive into their journeys through Extreme and ultimately how they ended up back here, giving back to the game that gave them each so much. So welcome, everyone.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we have a big group, so we'll just kind of get rolling here. And so we, of course, have a lot to talk about. We have a combined probably 20-ish years worth of experience playing in the Extreme here, and among each and every one of you guys. And so we're just going to roundtable start here, and we're going to think about, give us a little bit on when you started in the Extreme, what age you now coach, and then now why you chose. Just a small synopsis on why you chose to give back in the coaching world, and then we'll dive into that a little bit further. So we'll start here. Megan, go ahead and get us started with when you first started in the Extreme.
So I first started in Extreme my second year of 12U and played all the way out through my 18U year. Me and Lexi actually coach a 13U team right now.
Awesome. Okay, and what's a little bit, just kind of brief synopsis on why you chose to give back to the organization?
Mostly the culture. I came from a small high school where it's very last name based, and you don't have as many opportunities, and the culture is kind of just very selfish. And when I joined Extreme, I came under Pete Hoffman, so the culture was very a big culture shock to me of oh, this is how we should play. And the amount of training and just the people that I surround myself with through Extreme was just a very good eye-opening experience of how the game should be played and how we should be taking it so seriously.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, Lexi, what about for you? She just said that you kind of joined her in the 13U world for coaching. So what about your journey through that?
So my journey through that is kind of similar to Megan. I started my second year of 10U for Extreme, and I ventured out and saw other organizations as well, but I eventually got a great opportunity to come back, which I'm very grateful for. But as far as piggyback off of what Megan kind of said about the culture, I think the culture is a big part. And coming from someone who did go to other organizations, seeing that culture piece was not there in other organizations, and it was very down. Instilling what P. Hoffman kind of instilled in me and Megan's team really just made me want to continue it throughout, because I think it's something that's kind of getting lost as the generations keep going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ali, what about for you?
I also started second year 12U under Pete Hoffman, and he, like both of them said, was a big culture guy. Us at 10 years old, we're why is he being so nitpicky on all these things? But now I'm 20 years old and I completely understand. And I coach high school girls, and I wanted to give back just because I'm a people person and I like helping people, and I like breaking things down, because it wasn't always easy for me to be in school or get coached, and I know that girls struggle with that sometimes, and I can kind of empathize with them and kind of help them work out all the things in softball.
So all of you guys, shout out to Pete Hoffman for being the reason that this podcast is even happening. He is our co-founder at Extreme, and just had a wonderful just experience with each one of you guys as well. I know he really enjoys seeing you back inside of our doors, and while he maybe isn't on the field with us coaching anymore, his legacy lives on through each one of you guys, and the different things do learn from him. And I think culture is a big piece of it, as far as the structure and just who he was as a person, as a coach, and how he continues to live his life in a way that is just loving on each of the people that he's had an opportunity to coach. So I know you guys will do the same, and I'm excited to see, in a few years what your athletes are going to say about each one of you. So we'll continue on here, just kind of diving through each of your journeys. And I want you to think about, put you on the spot here, choose one word to describe yourself as an athlete, and that you would now also use as a coach. Whoever wants to go first.
I would pick resilient, just because like I said, it wasn't always easy for me in school or getting coached or now being a coach, and I just keep getting up every day.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Megan, do you want to
Got
go?
one, Lexi?
Yeah, I would say, as a coach, I would say just scrappy. I feel like I was always the person, like, you didn't have to make every play, but like as long as you showed that you were giving your 100% to try to make the play, then like you can't really complain. And I think I see that as the same way for my girls. As long as I know that they're giving me all that they have that day, like I'm going to give them everything that I have as well. And I just think that that's like a big part, is like that some people don't understand, is like you might not make every play, but as long as their intention and effort's there, then that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's really good. I love that. Megan, what about for you?
I would say passionate. Like I'm a very passionate person. Like with softball especially, like the girls, like I just want to pour my passion into them because I was such a passionate player. But that also translates to life. Like anything I do, it's like I'm giving my 100% or I'm not doing it at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good words there. Good words. So let's go inside of Extreme specifically for each one of you as a player. What was your favorite softball story growing up in Extreme? We'll start with Megan. We'll go back the other way this time.
I would probably just have to say any of like the team bondings that we did. Like showing that it wasn't just, oh, just we're one group on the field, but like that off the field chemistry. We always had fun, whether we were in hotels with you doing random stuff, digging out our brains, you know, the mental side of it, or just pitching in the hallways with you at a tournament after an injury. That was probably one of my favorite ones too.
I do not advise. Lexi, what about for you?
Mine would just be like all the community service that we did. Like I'm big on like community service and giving back to like the less fortunate or like people around you. And one thing that Extreme is very good about is community service and giving back. And that's something that I did even just outside of softball. So seeing that aspect also be brought in, I think it made teams closer together, the organization closer together, and just like the community overall closer together. So that was something that I still enjoy doing through Extreme. So
yeah, cool. Ali?
I really like the whole organization events. Like whenever we would go to Colorado and we would go to the park, and there'd be like 50 plus of us girls and all the coaches and all the families, and we played, I don't even know what. I remember we played one game and it was two ball. We played two ball, like a huge circle of two ball, and that was really fun. We were in Colorado, which made it even better, but it was cool because we got to go and we all looked up to the older girls and it just kept going. So then we were the girls that they looked up to, and it was fun.
Yeah, I think again, just cool stories there of, you know, it wasn't necessarily any sort of you know, championship or specific games or highlights and things like that for each one of you. And I think it's so important that we recognize that while yes, we are playing softball, that those are unlikely to be the memories that we take with us going forward. And each one of you guys' little stories there really showcase that. So obviously with inside of any sport you have things you do need to balance, and now as people and humans in life there's things that you also have to balance. So when you think about just, you know, academics, athletics, maybe you were a multi-sport athlete, and just like your own personal life, how did you balance all of that?
I would say for me, it was definitely like coming into high school is definitely like a little bit of like a culture shock. And it took like definitely like some time for me to like really figure out like how to balance like my workload, my school load, softball, like all of that. But I feel like once you get a system down that caters to you and like what you need as a person, then it can really benefit from there, because I don't think everyone's the same person. I don't think everyone can balance things the same way. So I think just really understanding like who you are as a person and how you can manage stress and manage everything going on in your day-to-day life is very important. You should utilize all those tools.
Yeah.
I really like figured out, like kind of piggybacking off what Lexi said, like a schedule. Like I have a planner and I use that thing, like scribble marks everywhere, like it's full. So definitely finding like a schedule of like every Sunday I sit down and like plan out for my week with like coaching, with my jobs, with school, with everything, due dates, because you know college is just so fun with all the homework and stuff that we have. So doing that, and then also being able to like fill in like some time for myself, like whether that's literally laying in my bed for 2 hours, just bed rotting, scrolling on TikTok, brain rotting on all the fun stuff, or like planning like to go hang out with my friends. I think that piece is something that we kind of forget sometimes of like, oh, we're always go, go, go. But we never really like take time to think like we need kind of a break just to do what we enjoy and what we think is fun. So trying to balance that out, I think, is probably the hardest thing to do. But once you kind of get in a routine and figure it out, it's the best thing you could do for yourself.
Yeah, I think we definitely live in a world that's, so driven on status and just making sure that you're, climbing the ladder. And in order to climb the ladder, you got to put in the hard work. And while that is true, and we want to make sure that we are striving for excellence and we're trying to make sure that we really pour into the people that we're supposed to be and become, we also need to take that time for ourselves. And I think that's a great just reflection and reminder to even to our athletes of, again, they are also in the go, 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 and being able to hear from their own coach just to say, like, sometimes you got to take time for yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you're going to need to do that for your entire life, I think is really so important. So, Ali, what about for you?
Yeah, I'm also very much a routine person. I get stressed out the first week of school because I do have it all planned out, but I haven't like gone through it yet. So like in high school, it was hard for me to find the self-care because I would get up at 7 and not get home till 9 or 10 p.m. So it was hard to kind of fit that in my schedule. But besides on the weekends, which most time on the weekends we were playing softball, which sometimes is self-care unless you get a little bit stressed out. But for most athletes, it's like their escape to get on the field. And if it's not their escape, I really hope that they can find that. But in college, it's been a little bit easier because I don't have to sit in the classroom from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's like 2 or 3 classes throughout the day. So being a person that I get overstimulated and ADHD everywhere, I have to be able to like take a step back and just sit in my own presence, maybe scroll on my phone a little bit. I like going for walks, but just finding those like little self-care things really helps not stress me out as much.
Very good. So we talked a little bit there about, your own personal life and how you're able to balance each of those things. And now as we think about just your years with Inside of Extreme, maybe how they helped prepare you on the field. And so I'll kick this one to Lexi as you kind of are in your first year of college ball. How did Extreme help prepare you to be ready on the field?
I would say just like the duration of some of the practices that we had. You're not kidding when they call you a JUCO bandit. That is for sure. The practices, they're rough. I mean, they're long, they're rough, they're strenuous. And I think that Extreme in the best way possible, like prepared me for that. And I also think as far as like the mental piece and kind of like really like nitpicking, like the fundamentals of your swing and how stuff like looks like that. Like I'm still going through like all of those things right now. And I think that's something that Extreme like really like prepares you for.
Mm-hmm. Ali, what about for you?
Yeah, I would also say the duration because with Extreme, we would have like 3-4 hour practices, which is legit once you get to college ball. And also just like the little tedious things like hanging up your J bands before games, setting out your glove in a line, hustling everywhere, 7 seconds on and off the field. You get however many seconds to delete the last pitch from your head, just stuff like that. We were very much like very big on the mental side, which some colleges really like put that into their program and others don't, and other travel ball teams don't. But that really, really helped me when I was younger.
Yeah, I think, it's funny because as a coach now, being removed from the game for so long as a player, I think like a lot of times our athletes think it is nitpicky. Like those words come up a lot that people think that we're being, a little ridiculous when it comes to some of those structure pieces and culture pieces. And it's all because we know what they're about to go through later in life. And so preparing them not only just for on the field side of things, but those structure type of things that we are, I guess, nitpicky, the word you want to use there, it's because we want them to be structured people, we want them to be professional people in life, and instilling those values really early is so important. So Megan, on the coaching side of things, and you think about how it prepared you to be able to then instill that in the girls you're coaching now, what would you say there?
I would just say the coaches that I did have through Extreme kind of like made me want it. So obviously, like I can't relate to Lexi and Ali in the aspect of playing, but I just feel like they kind of instilled that like aspect of the culture and how the mental side affects it. And then us having practices throughout the week, plus me being in high school and having another sport and having a job, like it very like is very eye opening of like this is what real life is going to be like with when I get like when I get my big girl job, you know what I mean? Like trying to sit there and figure out like, okay, like I want to do coaching because that's something that I love. Like I still love softball. So I want to like share that with the girls through them. And I think that coaches that trained me and like coached me have really made that like I want to be them. I want to have the same impact with my girls that my coaches had on me, to be able to like be so comfortable with talking to them about like personal stuff that's not even related to softball. And it's kind of like what I want to reinstill in my girls of like, yes, I'm your coach, but I also want you to think of me as somebody you can rely on in a tough situation. So
that's good. Yeah. So this is all coming, together here as kind of I'm looking through my notes of what's going to be next. And so, we talk a lot about extreme pride. So you guys have said it in a couple different ways around culture and structure. And so if you think about that culture that, you grew up around in extreme, what would you take away as like the most specific thing that you feel like has helped you adapt into your, high school, into the high school setting, or even into your now college life? So extreme pride, maybe what comes to mind there. Ali, what do you think?
I think just not playing for yourself, playing for the person next to you. Like there's that saying, like play for the team on your front of your shirt, not the team on your back. And just getting into college, going through conditioning and all that. It's like we are working for one. Like we're all together, not just for ourselves. And like I'm gonna finish this sprint because you have to do it too.
Like that. Good. Lexi, what about for you?
I really agree with what Ali said, and I mean, extreme pride for me. I mean, it's so like it's really honestly just hard to like kind of pinpoint it to one thing. Like I really think what Ali said is like just like persevering, and like you're not gonna have those days where you're going all out and you look like a superstar, but like persevering through that and picking your teammates up or picking the people around you up, like that's just really what extreme pride instilled in me.
Megan?
I mean, they kind of said it perfectly, exactly what I was going to say. One of my big things I was going to say was like, you're always playing or like doing something for something that's bigger than yourself. Like it's a very like selfless culture. Like it's not a me, it's a we. And kind of like just they like very instill in like athletes of how to carry yourself, like not even just on the softball field but off. We always talk like you're always being watched, which is very true. How you carry yourself isn't just softball related, it's life related. It's how you talk to your coaches, how you interview for a job, how you walk down the street, and like how you want to be remembered just based on your presence without having to say a word.
Yeah, I think that so much of that is true. And just because you guys all can think about what it means for you, for yourself, I know that your athletes are getting that just as well. So I think it's, a great full circle moment. For me, I coached all of you guys as well. And so being able to just hear your takeaways from just things that we talked about inside of our classrooms or on the field, and being able to hear just how you're, interpreting those things, and then being able to take those into the settings that you have with each one of your athletes as well. So I think about, just life's challenges probably is the next phase of this. And if you think about just how extreme prepared you for life's challenges, you guys talked a lot about just playing for something bigger than yourself, and persevering was another great word there. And of course all of that is true, and we want that to be sustainable throughout life. And if you can think just to your own self and your own experiences as far as life's challenges maybe that you've faced, and some of the things that extreme instilled in you to be able to live back on, what would those be?
For me, it was definitely like big on the classroom. Like I know we did like a lot of like reading like self-help books and like things like that. And I mean, yes, those books are based towards like I guess like athletes, I always took away like just like the big mental side of like how to like overcome like the struggles that you're going through as an athlete, but you can also kind of twist those in a way to be like, how can you handle these struggles as like a human being in like society? Because I mean, outside of softball, it's the real world. So you can always like kind of like tweak those things and manipulate it into like applying to the real world situations as well.
Yeah, I think we take even, we take what's relevant to us in that part of our life, but don't realize what those lessons can become later in life. And so if we are sitting in that classroom, at 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, and we hear it and we're like, oh, yeah, that like sparks something in me because of the fact that I'm able to use that as an athlete going through what I'm going through right now in the moment. We don't realize then years later that we're using that exact same story or experience to help us with that challenge of life that is truly a life experience, rather than what we were maybe going through on the field. So Megan, Ali, do you have anything else on that one?
Yeah, I was gonna say just I learned how to like be bold. Like I was a really, really shy kid and I still kind of classify myself as introverted and extroverted. But Coach Pete and Coach Brett kind of just was like, you girls can't just sit back and look at your glove anymore. Like you need to be like, hey, I'm Allie. I'll be your catcher today or blah, 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 whatever. And so that really helped me just like say, it doesn't matter what you say on the field, just move your mouth. Doesn't just repeat what your teammate says. Like just get in the groove of it and it'll become way easier. And it has.
I think about it's funny that you say that. Some of the pictures, the best pictures of you, Ali, are just like you are emoting so much on the field. Like I think of just like you're jumping, you're you're screaming things, and like I don't think that was really necessarily you early on, whenever we first met. And so being able to watch that journey and see that you have like tangible proof of that change in yourself, being able to see that on the field is such a just a unique experience, and being able to recognize that and being bold. I think that's a great word of just, sometimes it's uncomfortable, but we have to try because we're going to get the best version of ourselves on the other side of that. And yeah, I love to look at some of those pictures that come across my feed when I see you jumping up and down, excited for your teammates.
Yeah, another thing I want to add on that, we've been joking about that. Like my coaches here at McKendree, they're like, Allie, just all the sound effects you have are just so funny and you don't care what anybody thinks. And then yesterday we had a classroom session on just like playing free and like what it means to play free and what holds us back. And like a few of my teammates got emotional about it, but I feel like I play pretty free and that helps because I am dancing on the field and I am saying, "Whoo, that was a good like I literally do not care. I'm having fun and I'm go back to my next at bat and I'm probably going to be singing a song as I'm stepping in the box. But that's just how I am. I got to stay loose or else I'll just be tensed up in my little ball.
Yeah, I love that. Megan, do you have anything to add on that one?
Yeah. I can kind of piggyback off of Ali because I was the complete opposite. I was the very loud, very obnoxious, very annoying like teammate. And like that is just how I am. That's how I'm raised. I'm very outgoing. My parents, I'm sure everybody can vouch that they're very loud. They're very, I'm a representation of them. So from a young age, it was kind of like I always felt sometimes like I was being overly loud and like didn't really know, like I wanted to communicate, but I didn't really know what to say. And like maybe what I was saying was doing more harm than good. So through Extreme and like the classroom sessions, it kind of helped me have productive talking instead of just kind of like talking out my butt of like I don't really know what to say, but I'm going to be loud because that's just who I am. So that part of like the classroom of like knowing what to say, and then like also knowing my teammates, like what they need, like do they need me in their face, do they need me kind of like, hey, like you're good, like just kind of finding that balance. And that's with life too, like if I like with my relationships with my friends, with my family, like knowing what they need and like how I can give that to them, but without shying away from who I am of like that loudness, that in your face, that outgoing person. So I think that was a really good part for me because as a younger kid, like I got told that I'm being too loud or like you're too in their face, or what you're saying, like they perceive you as bossy and like stuff like that. So it was very good for me at a younger age to be like, yes, this is what you should be doing, but let's fix what you're saying and how you're saying it.
I'm kind of laughing as this is happening because I remember a lot of these conversations and just like the willingness to speak up is not bad. It never is. And the boldness of what Ali was talking about there. And so I think now it's coming to this moment of realizing, like you just said, of like it's not always just whether or not I was loud, but it's the impact that my words have. And so I remember us having a lot of conversations about like, I don't want you to stop being a leader. That's not it at all. And we want you to keep leading, but we want you to do it in a way that's effective and impactful for other people. And sometimes that means we're watching our words. Sometimes that means we're watching our tones. Sometimes we're watching our inflection. And so being able to take that going forward, because there are so many unique personalities in life that we're going to face, and being able to understand that we have highs and we have lows, and people need different things all the time, and we have to be just so self-aware of the presence that we're putting off, so that we really can make the impact that we're called to make. So yeah, I think we hit on a few of these things, so feel free to either elaborate or I'll pass on this one. But I think about just like how coaches and trainers have shaped you guys' careers. Maybe they instilled something in you. Maybe there's a specific phrase that you really remember from someone. We'll go ahead and go around here. And Ali, what would you say, a coach or trainer that has shaped you and something that you remember them by?
I don't remember any specific phrase, but I know the first thing that came to my mind was just like in the weight room, having Coach Thomas. A lot of kids from a young age, especially, we would get in the weight room at 10 years old, and we had Coach Thomas there showing us how to do everything, and we were doing it together as a team. So it was like, okay, what are we supposed to be doing if we didn't want to go ask him? But he was very good on like fundamentals and making sure we're not getting hurt. And then just like in the cage, Coach Tim Fox was a big inspiration for me. I don't know. It just, whatever he said just clicked with me. I don't know what it was, but me and him we spark off of each other. So
that's good. Lexi, what about for you?
For me, I have two examples. One would be with Coach Potts, and it's just like kind of be comfortable with getting uncomfortable. And that is something that like I've like ever since she's kind of told me it, I've like taken with me on the field in my college softball career, like off the field as well. And then something that you say all the time, Coach Jess, is kind of control the controllables. And that's something like with all of the chaos going around me and me being go, go, go all the time, I tend to like see myself kind of spiraling, and I like really try to like take a step back and be like, okay, wait, like what can I genuinely like control in the situation? And if I can't, like I need to like just let the stress go out the window, because there's really nothing I can do about it. So those are just two big takeaways for me that I've carried on throughout.
Piggybacking off what Ali and Lexi said, definitely control the controllables. That's one that's been very like stuck with me, and that I try to instill in my girls as well. And then the get comfortable with being uncomfortable. They hear it all the time. They're probably sick of me saying it. They have even started to say it, which I love. It's just one of those main things of like, you have to take it day by day and step by step, and not go in a big spiral when everything seems so in your face right now. One trainer I do want to give a huge shout out is Brett Swift. I remember we're always, us are so like scared around him because he's just so like intimidating, but he's the biggest teddy bear you'll ever meet in your life. One of the times I was going to network training, it's kind of a funny story. I was little like 12-year-old me, one of the first few like network practices with Extreme, and I walk up and he's like introducing himself, and he saw that my softball pants were down by my calves. So he like walks up and he like yanks them. He's like, "That's not how we wear softball pants." And I was like, "Okay,
yes, sir."
Yeah. But I take how Brett trains like with me very seriously. Like I'm trying to light a fire under the girls' butts. Like I'm very in their face, very energetic. Like I want you to win. Like I want you to succeed. I don't care. Like I'm not here for me. I'm here for you. And he just like he doesn't have to say it. You can just tell with how passionate he is during his trainings, and how hard he's pushing the girls, and how that high level of like he expects so much out of them. And I just think that it's awesome to watch, and it's awesome for me to see the girls kind of bounce off of that. Like they don't take it to heart when he's yelling at them. They don't really get down on themselves. They're kind of like, okay, like let's go again. And I think that's just me as a player now, as a coach and a trainer. Like that's what I really strive for with all my girls.
Yeah, I think there's a realization that he genuinely wants what's best for each of the athletes that he's training. And so we joke around sometimes that he can get away with some things that maybe other trainers can't, just because he is so in your face. But
for sure,
I think it's the heart of the fact that he truly does want what's best, and I think that shines through, and that's why. And so I think that's a great reflection of that. I think it's funny. I was walking past you guys as one of your more recent network training sessions, and I said to Brett, sometimes Megan starts talking and I just feel like I'm hearing myself talk to her however many years ago. And I think that is just a really cool thing of being able to just see each of you guys in your elements, and really starting to impact athletes and take all of these little snippets to become the best version of yourselves as coaches too. So
it makes me laugh because sometimes you'll be saying stuff to the girls and they'll kind of like side eye me, and I'm like, see, I'm not the only one that says it. I'm like, it's not just me. Like, whatever I'm saying, I probably heard it from Coach Jess, and I'm re-saying it to you guys. So it's cool to see.
That's awesome. So I think, as we kind of start to work towards wrapping this up here, I want you to think about what's something really specific here. What's something that you hope for the athletes that you coach? As I'm going through just my coaching journey, there's always, things that I want my athletes to be able to take. And, Megan, one of the great stories from you was just like you wanted somebody who was going to pour into you, or you wanted to pour into your athletes the same way you felt poured into by myself and other coaches. And that was just very heartwarming for me as a coach, just because it's really cool to see athletes want to come back and be able to, it's powerful, right? And I think that's so cool. And so if you guys think about yourselves so many years in the future, what are you hoping that your athletes say about you when you're hosting a podcast in 10 years or so?
I would say that I kind of already said it, but I would say just like letting them know that it's okay to play free and like you don't need to be scared to make a mistake. Like it doesn't matter if I'm standing there and maybe taking a video of you. If you make a mistake, I'm not going to care. Like we might not post it on the Instagram. We may, but I'm not going to care. Like just playing free. Once I figured out how to play free, which honestly wasn't until I got into college, it was just like that. Like I just figured it out. Like I could, sometimes I would get little somebody in my ear saying like, why are you smiling 5 minutes after an error? Like, and I'm just like, I'm moving on to the next one. So I just hope that my athletes really see that the mental side of the game is very important and I'm very passionate about it. And so I hope that I feed that into them and they feed that into their teammates and parents and other high school teammates. And yeah.
Lexi, I think you had one there.
Yeah, mine would just kind of be like I guess like ride or die, like all in or nothing, like mentality is because the best coaches that I had were the ones that were like, I knew that I could go to at the end of the day, whether it was 2 a.m. and I was going through it or I was just having a rough day on the field. And that's just something like down the road, I still want my girls to be able to be like, hey, you know what? Maybe I haven't talked to Coach Lexi in a while, but like I'm really going through it and I think that she would make me better. And, they reach out or whatever. That's just like the type of coach that I want to be for my girls down the road, because that's the kind of coaching that I had as well.
Megan, what is that for you?
I would say I hope that they just truly have fun. Like we are always so like serious talking, like especially during network, like it's very like intense, it's very focused, it's very very draining sometimes, even for me as a coach, just to watch like them go through that and think like, oh God, I remember how I was when I went through that. Like them to just remember why they play the game and like why they love it and just to have fun and kind of like Ali said, just like pour into it, like have fun and light fires under each other. And like I want them to be able to take that into life with them, right? Like we're not just shaping players, we're shaping people. Like we're not making robots, we're making like people that are going to grow up one day. And I just think the most important thing to me for them is to realize that it's fun. Like it's not supposed to be this draining, like I have to go to softball. I want them to like, I get to do things, I don't have to do them, and just be very grateful for the opportunity they have. Because like I know injuries, I'm sure all of us have faced injuries, and like there was a point in time where we couldn't go play, and like I know that killed some of us. So like them just learning to be very grateful, not taking anything for granted, and having no regrets. Like I want them to be able to go back and look and say like, I don't want them to be like, oh, I should have done that different, or I wish I would have done that. And like Ali said, like playing free, like just having fun, not being scared of mistakes. And I think that's a big part of softball right now, is the big, like the mental part of it, of like, I'm scared to mess up. Like I'm a perfectionist, I want to be perfect at this, and it's just not realistic.
Yeah, I think, especially because you have a variety of ages here, but really in those kind of like preteen to teen years, we see so many athletes that we just like, we want them to be able to let those chains go. We want them to be able to play free. And, Ali, you even said there, like, it didn't really happen for you until college. Like we talked about playing free all the time, but like, it has to be your own just like internal click, and being able to like share on the fact that that's what we want for you. Hopefully, like maybe that made it happen for you sooner, Ali, than maybe it would have been if you didn't have those messages. But yeah, I think just continuing to share that story with our athletes of like they're going to go through it, and we're just going to have, you know, hopefully we can get them to move on past it sooner and be able to like get over that fear and really truly play free. And there's just so much more on the other side of that freedom that I'm excited. I'm always excited for athletes to experience and explore that, because it really does just help you play the game so differently. So, all right, we'll wrap up here with just a little bit of fun here. A quick this or that here on sunflower seeds. Are we a Biggs or David's brand?
Biggs.
Biggs.
Biggs. Yeah. And what's the best flavor?
Pickle.
Taki.
Ew.
Pickle.
Taco.
Okay, I'm good on Taki and taco. Pickle, no way. And then game day hair. Are you braids or bubbles or neither?
Bowls.
Both.
A time or two where Megan may have done Coach Jess's hair in a variety of ways. So
sitting on the bucket for the game.
Yeah. pre warm ups. That was the thing. So what about the worst softball ick that you have?
Ears outside of the visor. I can't do it.
Okay.
I would say like when people can't slide right. Like it really just like
that's a weird one, but
like,
that's good.
a knife in the chest. Like I mean,
did you get made fun of for not being able to slide right? Is that why?
No, I was always fine to slide. There's just a certain people that I can point out through my life where I was like, we got to figure it out at some point.
That's probably the first time I've ever heard that inside of the softball ick conversation. That's a new
I was trying to not think of like the basic ones. I was trying to venture out a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, all I can think of is the basic ones, like the ears, the pants.
Sleeves.
I'm sure it'll come to me after this.
Yeah.
Sleeves,
yes. Hard pass.
Face
sleeves.
mask in the outfield too. Face mask
in
the outfield.
Yes. We're not doing that.
Okay. Good
Not
one.
happening.
And what about for you guys? What did you ever have a pregame ritual that you just had to do?
For travel, if it was a morning game, I always had to go eat McDonald's for breakfast.
Don't tell your players that. Okay.
No, I won't, but I had to.
Okay. What else?
Honestly, I don't think I had that many. Mine would honestly just be like once I have a throwing partner, like we are locked in, like we can't change.
Yep.
Like we're all in now.
That's your own superstition. I like that. Ali, what about for you?
Mine's also the same as Lexi's. I haven't had like a whole like routine, but at Danville, we had a 7 brew there, and if you know anything about me, I'm a big 7 brew gal.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't get a coffee that day, but I would get a 7 brew energy drink with strawberry and coconut, and now I can't get that here because we don't have 7 brew, and it's 30 minutes away, so I'm missing that. But now I just have a coffee, so yeah.
So in my backyard, I get the luxury.
No, I wish it was.
Maybe it's coming. Who knows?
I hope so.
All right. Well, thank you guys for sharing your experience as coaches and alumni, and we cannot wait to hear from more coaches like yourself of why Extreme is their forever home. And if you are a coach out there looking to get back to athletes, please reach out to me at jess@extremepride.org for more information. Thanks for listening to this episode of Hardball Talks, and please subscribe to catch the upcoming episodes.